In this session, we're going to learn a little bit more about the palette manager and creating templates and morphing components in the Swing Designer of JBuilder 2008. We'll start with a project that's already been created, and first a little bit more about the palette. So we've been using the palette of controls and layout managers to actually build our user interface. If we go to the palette and right mouse click, we can bring up the palette manager. And the palette manager is where we see the various categories, and then if we drill down on the categories we can see the controls that are available under those. So this is where I can enable or disable what gets seen. As you see here, by default the AWT controls have been disabled, but I can enable them and have them appear on the palette if I want. It's also the place that I would add categories. So if I were going to create custom components or import components, I can create a category and then simply add an archive by specifying a jar file and importing that onto the palette. So this is the way we would bring new or custom components into the palette. And now you see down here the AWT controls have been added, which I just selected from the palette manager. Okay, we're going to start by first of all I'm going to change this layout to an absolute layout, and then I'm going to build just a really quick user interface just to put down a few components here so we see how things work. So I'll just put down a label and I'll say name, and then I'll put down a text field and maybe expand that a little bit, and then I'll put down a button just to the right of that that says find. Okay, this will give us enough to work with. So let's quickly take a look at the source, and as you can see we have the source that's been created with our label and our text field and our button, and the button does already have a listener for it. But if we go back to the design, one of the things I may want to do is add an event handler. So if I select the button and then right mouse click, I can say add event handler, and maybe I want to add an action event for action performed. So I'll go ahead and select that, and you can see it'll create the action performed event for the button and give me a stub for that, and then I can just go in here and add my application logic, what I want to have happen when the button is pressed. So it's very easy to add events to controls that are on the user interface simply by using that menu choices. Okay, let me go ahead and just put a few more items down here. I'll put down I'm going to put down a radio button, and I'll put that right underneath the text field, and I'll just maybe change this to choice number 1, and then I'll put down a couple check boxes. Okay, so we have a radio dial and some check boxes. Now let's say I realize, oh, I made a mistake here, and really this should have been a checkbox as well. So I can simply select it and then right mouse click, I can say morph, and I can morph this into a checkbox. So I don't have to go through the trouble of deleting it and replacing it. We have the ability to morph components into other components. If I wanted to morph the button into something, I could say morph, and maybe I want this to be a checkbox or a label or a combo box or some other type of control. So it's very easy to morph controls into other controls that are similar in nature. The other thing that we can do is create templates for our controls. So for instance, if I had a particular style that I knew I wanted to use, again, I'll go ahead and select the button, and if I come over here to my property sheet, I can, for instance, change the font. So maybe I want my font to be Arial, and I want it to be bold, and I want it to be size 20 for, it's just my choice of what I want. And perhaps I want it to be a different color. and then I can also come up here and change the background color. Maybe I want the background color to be oh, I don't know, let's choose a color. You see we have a number of different choices. We can use the AWT colors, we have system colors, we have the standard swing colors, we have named colors, web safe colors. So we have a number of different ways we can select colors for our component. But let's just pick something sort of really different here just to show. So we'll go ahead and select the sort of yellowish gold. And now if I come over and again right mouse and I say template and I say save as template, what will happen is when I come back to the palette, if I select a button again, and let's just say I want to put some buttons down in this corner, you'll see that the buttons that I put down now are using basically this same template or these same properties that I had set on the original button. So this gives us a very quick way to, if I'm using a particular style or want to make sure my style is consistent between frames and panels, I can create these templates for my various controls, and then every time I use them they'll look the same, have the same color or font or whatever attributes or properties I've set on it. And when I'm done with this, when I've decided that I want to sort of clear this template or not use it anymore, I can again simply select any of the components, and under template I'll just say clear template. And now if I come back and select a button and I put it down somewhere, you'll see it just goes back to the default style that we had before. So this gives us a quick overview of the palette manager, how to create action events for our controls, and how to create templates.